Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make a reverse corner fan fold. I'm beginning with a black Gildan Ultra Cotton t-shirt, and I'm using a piece of kite string and a piece of white chalk to draw an arc on the corner of the shirt. Once I get the line drawn on the shirt, I'm going to fan fold it and then tie it with some sinew. Because I'm going to reverse dye this shirt, I'm going to use sinew, which is wax coated and won't allow the color remover underneath that area, and it also won't allow any of the dye under that area. So everywhere where I place a sinew line, that area is going to stay black underneath. I'm going to continue fan folding on either side of this initial line and tying lines of sinew. As I go closer to what is going to be the corner of the shirt, I'm going to place the lines closer together going toward the corner of the shirt. Then, after I get to the very end or the corner of the shirt, I'm going to wind the sinew back toward the original line. If I cut the sinew off right at the very end or the corner of the shirt, when I do the color removal process and soak the shirt in soda ash, it's very possible that some of the sinew is going to come untied just because that area is so small. So I'm going to go ahead and wind the sinew back to the original line and continue tying sinew lines going out toward the top or the sleeve of the shirt. And as I do that, I want to tie the sinew lines further apart. So I want them to be close together at the corner of the shirt and get further apart as they go out toward the sleeve of the shirt. For the color removal process, I'm going to use a product called Out White Brite Laundry Whitener, and I purchased mine at my local Walmart on the laundry aisle, but if you can't find any at your local store, I have a link down below in the description for where you can purchase some from Amazon. I'm going to remove the color from a whole lot of shirts at the same time, so I've placed them inside of a plastic container and I have the container outside. I want to get good ventilation, and the product does have a smell, so I don't like to use it inside. I'm also wearing my respirator the entire time to avoid breathing in any of the fumes or the powder. I'm going to start by sprinkling the powder over the top of the shirts, and then pouring boiling hot water over the top. The minute the water hits the out white Brite, the out white Brite begins to foam and remove the color. I've sped the video up, but I came back and added some more out white Brite to the top of the shirts and some more boiling hot water. I wanted to make sure that the shirts were fully submerged. I left them in the out white Brite solution for about 10 minutes before I took them to my utility sink and I rinsed them in cold water. Then I left the shirts tied, put them into the washing machine and washed them using a hot water cycle and a little bit of Dharma's textile detergent. Then I put the shirts into the soda ash solution and allowed them to soak for about 20 to 30 minutes before I wrung them out of my Panda spin dryer. So this is the color that the shirt turned after the out white Brite. It's kind of a shade of taupe. And the sinew did really well. I only had one area of the sinew that came unraveled, and that was right at the very end. Since the colors that I'm using on the shirt are lighter than the black lines, I'm not going to retie any more sinew. I'm just going to leave the shirt alone. Before I begin applying the dye, I'm going to take a piece of kite string and tie it to the very end of this shirt. Then I'm going to use a metal clip and clip the kite string to the very end of the vinyl guttering. I've placed the shirt inside of a piece of vinyl guttering because I'm going to incline ice dye it. And I had to pull out one of the really long pieces of guttering that I have because the shirt's pretty long. I don't usually have to use this size guttering. I've only had to use this length of guttering maybe 2 or 3 times. So I started out by placing the dye underneath the ice and quickly realized that that's probably not going to work on these really small areas right up the very top. So I went ahead and changed directions and applied ice to the very top of the shirt. I kind of want to make this shirt look like a sunrise. So I'm using daffodil, soft orange, deep orange, Chinese red, and oxblood red from Dharma. And I'm not necessarily going to apply the colors to specific sections. Definitely not now that I've added the ice over the top and I can't really see the sections. But I just kind of want the colors to gradually flow into one another. Right now I just have the guttering laying flat on the table, so it's making it a little bit easier to apply the dye and to apply the ice. I'll probably have to adjust it a little bit after I go ahead and incline it. I'm going to add the dye colors in the order that you see up above the shirt, over the top of the ice. I'm going to overlap the colors just a little bit. And even though I went ahead and put the oxblood red down underneath the ice, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more to the very top of the ice too. I'm going to add a small sprinkle of soda ash over the top of all the dye. I think the colors look really pretty the way they flow into each other. At least they look really pretty in the guttering. And to incline the shirt, I'm going to put one end of a piece of guttering down inside of a tall-sided plastic container. This is a little bit challenging since the guttering is so long. I'm going to place this container on the floor, and then I'm going to adjust the ice and replace or repair any that fell off of the shirt. After the first layer of ice started melting, I noticed that at the very top of the shirt, the yellow areas weren't as saturated as I wanted them to be. I suspected that this might happen. Yellow is a little bit tougher to ice dye with sometimes. It kind of just seems to want to sit on the surface of the shirt, not really dissolve and soak in the way the rest of the colors do. So this time I decided to sprinkle the daffodil directly on top of the shirt. Now that the shirt is already damp from the ice, it's going to hold the dye on top just a little bit better. I'm also going to go ahead and replenish the ice in this area. I didn't want to go ahead and add ice to the rest of the shirt because I don't want to dilute the dye down that I added to the top. Also, even though this shirt seems like it's a really thick fold, the individual folds themselves are not that thick. So one layer of ice is more than enough. I would suggest allowing the shirt to process for at least 24 hours after the ice melts. I went out of town though, and so this shirt sat for about 5 or 6 days before I rinsed it out. So this is what it looked like right before I began rinsing the shirt. And as you can see, the color's gone through really well to the back side. I'm hoping that adding the additional dye up at the very top made the dye go all the way through to the back side up in that area. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to see on those really small folds. I started rinsing the shirt in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I untied it and warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing to rinse out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. When the water was running almost clear, I put the shirt along with some Dharma's textile detergent into my washing machine and washed it using a hot water cycle. And after the shirt was washed and dried, this is what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I'm pretty happy with this one. I definitely think it looks like a sunrise, which is what I wanted. And the area that I was a little bit concerned whether or not I got good color saturation looks like it's fully saturated. Probably the lightest color on the shirt is the soft orange. But I really like how the colors just kind of flow into one another. You know, the yellow flows into the soft orange, which flows into the deep orange, and then into the red colors. This is the look that I had envisioned in my head. The only thing that would have maybe been a little bit better is if I would have untied the shirt and tied it back with some kite string so that the sinew lines didn't stop the big long movements of color. Whenever you have a shirt that you're inclining and it has sinew lines in it, the dye can't move quite the same way that it can if the shirt is just tied with kite string. The sinew doesn't stop the dye totally from moving, but it does slow it down just a little bit. I do see great big long streaks of yellow going through the shirt, but most of the rest of the colors, I don't see quite as much dye movement on those. But I'm still really happy with the shirt. I think it's a really cool looking shirt, and I like the black lines. I like the addition of those black lines in the shirt. It just kind of breaks it up a little bit, adds a little bit of added interest. So what do you guys think about the shirt? And if you all have enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.